Hi, and welcome to day 30. Day 30 of Living Your Happier Life. Woo! Woohoo! You made it. Congratulations. You can tell I was always a wannabe cheerleader. Today is the day that you get to celebrate yourself and really savor what you've done. So give yourself a pat on the back, give yourself a little squeeze, do the happy dance, and just savor that feeling of accomplishment because you have earned it. You've built your inner home for happiness. I'm just going to do a quick review. You've laid the foundation by taking ownership of your happiness and by realizing that you have the power to raise your happiness set point. You don't need to be a victim. You can be a victor in your life. And you've also built the strong pillars of the mind, the heart, the body, and the soul. With the mind, you created new brain pathways, neural circuitry of happiness. With the heart, you leaned into living more and more with an open heart through gratitude and loving kindness and forgiveness and self-love. The body, we've talked about ways to bring more energy, prana, to your body, how to make the cells in your body happy. And the spirit, we talked about how to plug into spirit, how to feel the greater energy of the universe. We've also looked at the roof. Building a sturdy roof is living a life that's inspired by your passions and your purpose. And then we looked at the garden of your home for happiness, how to create cultivating and nourishing relationships, how to take care of getting the support you need for greater happiness. You did it. So one thing I'd ask you to do is to take the Happy for No Reason questionnaire again and just see for yourself what's shifted, how far have you come? And here's what I suggest you do moving forward. Continue to apply what you've learned in this program, because by now you've seen that it's totally possible for you to live a happily ever after. It's not a fairy tale, it's real. It's a matter of raising your happiness set point. It's not that hard. It's doing these simple little things that will move you forward. So what I'd like to do right now is to do a little visualization. And we're going to walk through what we're going to be. So now we're going to do a little visualization. We're just going to walk through a future visualization of what it's going to be like to carry this forward over the next 6 months. So if you'd sit comfortably and close your eyes. And you can put your hand on your heart and imagine that you're breathing in and out through the center of your heart. And first, really just celebrate yourself. Feel your appreciation for yourself. For what you have done. Feel your appreciation for the practices that you've put into place over these last days. Whether or not you've done this in 30 days or 3 months or a year, it doesn't matter. Just celebrate what it is you've done. And now reflect moving forward. What do you most want to bring with you? How do you want to take more responsibility for your happiness? Show up more like a victor in your life. In what ways do you want to shift your thoughts towards more happiness? How do you want to open your heart more and more in happiness? What practices are the most powerful for you? How do you want to charge the prana, Get the energy juices flowing in your body, the happiness juices. What ways do you want to connect in more with your soul? How do you want to live a more inspired life? More of your passions and purpose? And how do you want to surround yourself with more of a happiness dream team? And now imagine that it's 6 months from now, and you've continued to do this. You've taken the most important practices and you've continued them. And you can see almost as though you're watching a movie. You can imagine that there's a movie screen in front of you. And how does your life look and feel now? You've really owned this. Your happiness set point is raised significantly. How are your relationships feeling? How's it affected your work? How has it affected you in every way? And notice, just take a look at this movie. See it happening. And feel what that feels like. What's it feel like as you're living a happier life? And now thank yourself. Thank yourself for having taken this forward in your life. That this has become a deep reality for you. And breathe that into your heart. And let that expand throughout your whole body. And give deep thanks to yourself. And you can move your hand away from your heart now and stretch. Take some nice deep breaths. And when you feel ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Great. How does your future look? Does it look happy? So what I want you to do is, I want you to think, what are those things that you want to carry forward with you? And in a moment, we're going to have you write this down in your journal. But having the vision is the first step to making these happiness habits daily practices. And as you know, we're just talking about taking baby steps. This is not about doing huge changes in your life. This is about taking baby steps. In Japan, they call this approach Kaizen. It literally translates into continual improvement. And what they've found is that the bite-sized pieces are better. We don't want to go into overwhelm. You know, I told you in the very beginning of this program that I was going to be giving you a smorgasbord of things, and you were going to pick and choose at the end, what is it that most works for you? What are the things that are going to make the biggest impact in your life? And so that's what I want you to focus on. So for now, what I'd like you to do is to commit to 3 happiness habits, just 3. Make a list of 3 happiness habits that you want to continue practicing moving forward. Now, you can list more if you feel inspired, but really, we don't want you to be overwhelmed. I want you to really just do what feels manageable. And I want you to either right now, you can pause the video, or at the end, I want you to write down those 3 things in your journal. And make a commitment to yourself to practice these. Now, here's the thing. Remember that if you fall off the wagon, you're not going to go into beating yourself up. That is not the practice of self-love. You're going to just use that as an opportunity to practice self-love and to simply choose to get back on track and choose. What we're doing is we're choosing to move forward into expansion every day. Remember that first day we did that expansion and contraction exercise when you were contracted and you tried to say, I feel happy, you didn't. But when you were expanded and you tried to say, and you said, I feel depressed, you felt happy. So the idea here is you're just gonna follow the expansion. You're gonna move towards where you feel more expanded. Also, this is a great time to really look at creating your happiness support team, your happiness dream team. Remember, we talked about creating your happiness dream team when we were in the section of tending to the garden. And if you don't have one of those, it's a great time to get one together. You can enlist the support of a coach or a friend or a mentor or a support group. And, practicing these happiness habits with other people helps us really own them on a deeper level. There is a psychiatrist, Dr. William Glasser, who spent many, many years studying how people best learn. And he says that we learn 10% of what we read. We learn 20% of what we hear. We learn 30% of what we see. Well, together you're seeing and hearing while we've been here, so that's 50%. We learn 50% of what we see and hear. We learn 70% of what we discuss with other people. We learn 80% of what we experience personally. But here's the real kicker. We learn 95% of what we teach to somebody else. That's huge. So go teach this, go share this with family members, with your children, with your friends, because it will supercharge, it will really help what it is you've learned in this program sevenfold just by taking what you've learned and sharing it with others. So a couple other things, you could find a happiness buddy, somebody that you check in with once a week. You could form a happiness support group. You could seek out other happiness mentors. You could read more about happiness. You could listen to wonderful TED Talks on happiness. There are some great ones out there. Just what we want to do is we want to bathe ourselves, immerse ourselves in happiness and keep that going. Because here's the deal. How the world appears to you is determined by the color of the glasses that you look through. When you're happy, you see happiness all around you. When you're unhappy, you see unhappiness everywhere. There's a great story that I love to tell that I think really speaks this point beautifully. It's a story it's called The House of a Thousand Mirrors. And long ago and far away, there was a place that was known as the House of a Thousand Mirrors. And a happy little dog heard about this place and decided to go visit. And when he got there, he bounced up really happily up the stairs to the doorway of the house, and he looked through the doorway with his ears lifted up high, and his tail was wagging as fast as it could. And to his great surprise, he looked in, and he found himself staring at 1,000 other happy little dogs with their tails wagging just as fast as his tail was. And he just looked at them, and he smiled this great smile at them, and they looked back at him, and he saw 1,000 great smiles just as friendly and happy as his. And he left the house and he thought, wow, that is a wonderful place. I'm going to come back there and I'm going to visit there all the time. Now, in this same little village, there was another little dog who wasn't happy like the first one. He was really kind of miserable. And he decided to go visit the house. And he slowly climbed the stairs, and he hung his head low as he was walking up the stairs, and he looked into the door. And when he looked into the door, he saw 1,000 unfriendly, sad, mean-looking dogs staring back at him. And he growled at them. And then he had 1,000 other little dogs growling back at him. And as he left, he thought to himself, this is a horrible place. I'm never going to go back there again. Everybody in the world is our mirror. And when you're happy, what happens is the world reflects back that happiness to you. When you're not happy, the world reflects that back too. But here I think is the most important thing. And that is that the world may or may not change. But when we become happier, the world looks different. And I also deeply believe that when we become happier inside, we have an enormous impact on our world. People always say to me, Marcy, isn't this selfish to want to be happier? What about the whole rest of the world? Shouldn't we save the world? And my answer is that yes, it's great to contribute to the world, and that the most important thing that you can do for the world is to become happier yourself. Because when you're happier, you influence everybody around you. You influence your family, your friends, your coworkers, your neighbors, neighbors. We have a huge impact on the world. And becoming happy is the least selfish thing that you can do. So I want to leave you with a Chinese proverb. It actually hangs in a corner of my living room because it sums up why I so passionately care about each one of us being happier. And it goes like this. When there is light in the soul, there will be beauty in the person. When there is beauty in the person, there will be harmony in the house. When there is harmony in the house, there will be order in the nation. And when there is order in the nation, there will be peace in this world. My prayer and my wish for you is that you feel that happiness inside, that you feel that light in your own soul. And through that we all help create peace here on this beautiful planet of ours. It has been my deep, deep honor to be your guide for these last 30 days. Thank you so much for being committed to your own happiness and for being on this happiness journey together. I send you so much love.